Hey guys. Gosh, I have so much hair, I just don't have to ever brush it. Anyway, it's bad. Um, I love probiotics, and you know that I'm big on probiotics because basically, I used to have a ton of food allergies. Now I don't worry about it. I eat red pepper, I eat spicy food, I eat whatever. I just avoid GMOs and grains. I even actually eat rice though, and sometimes oats. But every time I eat grains, I have these crazy night terrors and I become a complete bitch and I become manic and blah, it's bad. But anyway, I did a probiotic video almost a year ago now called Our Store-Bought Probiotics Making Us Worse, and I talked about Bifidobacterium lactis and how it can protect your gut from the damaging effects of glutens. But I didn't really get to my main point, which was not are the store-bought probiotics making us worse, but that we need wild strains. We need lots of wild strains of germs, okay? And now I'm learning something new, which is not only do we need all the different strains, but we need them on a constant basis. So, like, some people, they'll only take probiotics when they take antibiotics, and they'll eat, like, one thing of yogurt, and they'll be like, I don't understand, why do I have a yeast infection? No, we need to be intaking probiotics on a regular basis because they don't stay in our gut. So I just found this article. I was looking up DDS1, which is another strain that is of lactobacillus that I think helped me with my acne. It's a small intestinal bacteria versus the bifidobacterium, which are large intestinal bacteria, but we need, all kinds. Anyway, so this article from nutritionaloutlook.com is called DDS1 Probiotic Survives in the Gut. First ever persistence study shows. And that's really important, but in this article, it's not just the DDS1 that persists, it's also Reuteri, which I'm sure if you're a female you've heard of because it's specifically really good for the female parts. And also Lactobacillus mucosae. But what it is this article is summarizing a study that was done, and they wanted to see if these three strains first, there's two different types. The Reuteri and the mucosae are what you call autochthonous, okay, which means native to the body. They naturally would be in our guts, I guess, from the time our mom nurses us or whatever when we're babies. And but it says they're not known to be probiotic in nature. I disagree because Reuteri has been shown to do all kinds of wonderful things like increase the depth of your microvilli and help with yeast infections and all kinds of cool stuff. But anyway, they were testing that against the DDS1 because the DDS1 is what you call allochthonous or foreign to the body, which I was like, what? It's foreign and I'm taking it? Oh my gosh, no. But the thing is, what they found is all three of them actually persisted for longer than a few days because apparently it's normal for probiotics to just go away after a couple days. So, like, that sucks. Like, you think you can just take some for, like, a week, and then you're, like, built up again until you take some antibiotics. But that's wrong. Maybe if we lived in a perfect world without triclosan soap and bleach and Lysol and antibiotics in our meat and pesticides, which also kill germs, and herbicides and chlorine and what else? I mean, it just goes on. So maybe that's why it's happening. Even though we're not taking antibiotics, we're still pretty much ingesting antibacterial substances like constantly. That could be why. But the point is that I learned from reading this is it's very normal for these probiotics to just like not last. So we need a constant intake of probiotics. So in my one video that I was talking about, I was talking about all the different strains. Like, there could be strains that we don't know of. So when we go to the store, we buy this brand and it has this 10 strains, they could be crowding out really important strains that we need, that we don't know about. Not that those 10 strains are bad. They're good too, okay? But they're crowding out these wild other minute strains. Think of it as like your macro minerals and your trace minerals. Yeah, we need a whole bunch of calcium and magnesium and phosphorus, but we do need a tiny bit of these other minerals. And without them, the whole thing doesn't work. So that's what I theorize is the same with probiotics. We need all kinds of germs. You know, like there's new research going on where they're giving people pills of poop. I don't want to do that. I don't want to eat that. I'm not going to do that. And I'll get to what we should do in just a second when I finish going through this article. So we don't have to eat poop pills. Okay, but dogs do that, and you know, they're hardier digestive system. They're intaking germs. They look for germs. They're nasty little suckers. I know, because I have a dog, and ever since I've been pregnant, she grosses me out. Like, I put fertilizer in fresh soil out today around my trees because it's spring, and she goes and she tries to eat the dirt and the soil. But there is a thing called homeostatic soil organisms. There are organisms in the soil. So you got to consider that. Maybe the dog is, you know, not that we should eat dirt, but maybe if our vegetables are coming from the dirt and instead of spraying them with a bunch of chemicals, we should just, you know, wipe off the tomato, rinse it with a little bit of water, and eat it like an apple, you know? But the point I want to make with this video, besides the whole crowding out of the trace bacteria, we'll call it, I just coined my own term, trace bacteria, instead of just that, you know, we need a constant intake of it, okay? So let me finish going over this article. All three of these strains, so what they did is they tested the people weekly, baseline, and then day 1, 8, and 15, and all of them survived the stomach, okay, which is good, and were temporarily detectable. The autochthonous, the 2 rhodori mucosae, reached higher populations than the DDS1, okay, which is probably because they're more made for our bodies. But all of them were persistent. That's what's unusual about all three of these strains, okay? So the L. rhodori, the L. mucosae, and the L. DDS1. 8 days after supplementation, they didn't detect any. So sometime in that week, it was already gone. And that's longer than normal. So like you think you're going to take them and they're going to last forever, or most people do that I talk to. It's so far from the truth. And so anyway, that's basically that article. But here's the solution, okay? We need to be eating fermented foods, lacto-fermented foods. There's a really great recipe book called Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon of the Weston E. Price Foundation. It's really a lot easier to do than you would think. And it doesn't have to be milk. It doesn't have to be milk products. You can ferment your vegetables. I actually just made beet kvass like a week or so ago. So freaking easy. Okay, you just chop up beets into like big chunks, not little chunks. First you peel them, chop them up, put them in a jar, put filtered water in the jar with some sea salt and some whey. And if you don't have whey, you add extra sea salt. I didn't have any whey, so I just added extra sea salt. It was pretty salty. Would close the jar up, leave it for 2 days, and you have this deep blood red, because I found out I was anemic, because, you know, I'm pregnant, my body's making more blood, so I was like, okay, I'll do beet kvass. Within a week, you know, I'm growing fingernails again, just like before I was pregnant. So it used to be I needed zinc, now I needed iron. But with my iron, I consumed lacto-fermented vegetables. And if you want to know how to make whey, it's pretty easy. Milk, squeeze lemon juice in a double boiler to about 110 degrees. And the lemon juice, once it gets to 110 degrees, you add the lemon juice. It separates the curds and the whey. Okay? And then you just use like a teaspoon away, so you have like a quart jar. Oh, anyway, see, I'm bored. It's so simple. But cultured veggies are just, we should just eat a little bit of them every day. And the thing about cultured veggies is they have bazillion more, that's an exaggeration, but way more actual bacteria than a probiotic, and it's way cheaper than a probiotic. So of course I take both because I'm just a freakazoid and I'm gluten intolerant. So as soon as I eat anything weird, my whole gut gets screwed up and I have to take a bunch of, but you're probably gluten intolerant too, let's face it. And according to Truth Stream Media recently, we're all breathing in glyphosate like all the time. We're breathing in Roundup. It's in the air. And then I also read recently that Roundup causes gluten sensitivity. So even if you avoid GMOs, you're breathing it in and it's causing gluten sensitivity, on top of all the other issues with gluten that I've talked about. But one of the results of gluten sensitivity is your gut can't make a good home for bacteria. So maybe that's why it doesn't stay in the gut. I don't know. Anyway, so culture some veggies and eat a little bit every day. Sauerkraut's really easy. Just look up a free recipe, okay? But I'm going to put the link to Nourishing Traditions below. If you do buy it from Amazon, I will get a whopping 4% commission. You won't pay anything more than you would if you actually went to Amazon on your own. But I might make 50 cents off of it if you decide to buy it. It's a great cookbook, and it has way more than that. You can even make ginger beer in that book, kombucha, kefir, sourdough. I've been making sourdough spelt because spelt is an unhybridized grain, and the souring removes the gluten. And it's a more biblically accurate way of eating grains, so it doesn't disrupt our gut more. It doesn't disrupt our gut. Anyway, so just check out the link. Have a great night. It's like almost midnight, and I'm just need to go to sleep. Okay, bye.